That way we can have some good trend data to analyze for past surveys. And this survey was administered by a combination of mail and phone to randomly selected sample of households. And each survey took an average of about 15 to 20 minutes to complete. Now, we mailed surveys to 2,800 households, and the goal was to get at least 700 completed surveys. We actually ended up with over 1,000, so we had a really, really good response rate, almost a 40% response rate. And the results at the 95% level of confidence have a margin of error plus or minus 3%. So just an overview of the survey results. Residents generally feel good about living in the city. 87% of residents were satisfied with the feeling of safety in the city, compared to only 3% who were dissatisfied. And 75% are satisfied with the overall quality of services delivered, compared to only 4% who were dissatisfied. Now, in analyzing the trends, overall satisfaction has improved in the long term since when we look back to 2005. But there has been a slight decrease in satisfaction in the short term since the last time we conducted the survey, which was 2011. Now, having said that, Gardner is still setting the standard for overall service delivery. Even though it's down a little bit from 2011, the city still rated 18% higher than the national average and 21% higher than the Missouri and Kansas average in terms of the overall services provided by the city. And the top priorities for improvement over the next 2 years, based on the data, should be the overall flow of traffic in the city and the maintenance of city streets, buildings, and facilities. So the first survey topic we'll go over is overall perceptions of the city. On this question, we asked residents to rate their satisfaction with various items that would influence their perceptions of the city. You can see the darker blue line is the percent of residents who are very satisfied, the lighter blue is satisfied, white is neutral, and the red is dissatisfied. So there's a lot more blue than there is red. So that indicates that residents generally feel good about living in the city. In particular, if you look at the top couple of rows, 87% of residents were either very satisfied or satisfied with the overall feeling of safety in the city. 75% gave positive satisfaction ratings to the quality of services provided by the city. That's compared to only 4% who are dissatisfied. And 73% are either very satisfied or satisfied with the overall quality of life in the city, compared to only 7% who are dissatisfied. In this question, we asked residents to rate their level of satisfaction with various city services. And again, the same scale of very satisfied, satisfied, neutral, and dissatisfied. So again, there's a lot more blue than red. In particular, the top couple of rows, 85% of residents were either very satisfied or satisfied with police, fire, and ambulance services. 83% were very satisfied or satisfied with city parks, recreation programs, and facilities. And 78% gave positive satisfaction ratings to customer service received from city employees. And that's compared to only 5% who are dissatisfied. So now we'll look at some of the trend data. So for some of our long-term trends, we look back to 2005. So here are some of the largest increases in satisfaction since 2005 and some of the largest decreases in satisfaction. For the largest increase in satisfaction, a lot of parks and recreation services, city swimming pool and aquatic centers at the top, outdoor athletic fields. You see some of the others. Largest decreases in satisfaction, how well the city's planning growth, quality of new development in Gardner, maintenance of sidewalks. We also looked at some of the short-term trends since the last time we conducted the survey in 2011. So here are some of the largest increases in satisfaction and some of the largest decreases in satisfaction since 2011. Some of the largest increases include adequacy of city's wastewater collection system, ensure construction meets building and safety codes. Some of the largest decreases, quality of street repair services, quality of city's digital publications and magazines. Now for this chart, we're looking again at the overall satisfaction with various city services. And that percentage, the percentage you see there to the right, are the percentage of residents who are very satisfied or somewhat satisfied with each of those services. Obviously, the blue line is 2014, yellow 2011, orange is 2005. And the blue arrow means there's been a significant increase in satisfaction since 2005. And the red arrow means there's been a significant decrease in satisfaction since 2005. And by significant, we define that as any change by more than 3%. And the reason we use that is the margin of error for these results are plus or minus 3%. So you can see there's 3 areas that have had a significant increase in satisfaction since 2005, and then a couple areas that have had a significant decrease. Here we're looking at satisfaction with items that influence perception of the city. And this is the area that seems to have struggled the most. There are a number of significant decreases since 2005. Now, when we look at the benchmarking data, comparing Gardner to regionally and then nationally, then the results stack up a little more favorably. You know, these results, they've gone down since 2005, but you'll see they're still not too far off from regional and national averages. So now we'll look at some comparisons to other communities. So here again, we're looking at the satisfaction ratings for various city services. That percentage is the percent of residents who are very satisfied or somewhat satisfied. And the blue line is the city of Gardner. The red line is the Missouri-Kansas average, and the yellow is the U.S. average. And the source for the Missouri-Kansas average is ETC conducted a citizen survey last year of 400 residents of various cities throughout Missouri and Kansas. So that's what the percentages in the red represent. For the yellow, ETC conducted a national survey for citizens across the U.S., and that was with 4,000 residents, and that's where that average comes from. Now, a blue arrow means that the results for Gardner are significantly higher than the national average. Red arrow means the results are significantly lower than the national average. And again, we're considering significant anything that's a difference of more than 3%. So you can see there are a number of areas where Gardner is above the national average. In particular, customer service received from city employees. Gardner's 27% above the Missouri-Kansas average in that area, 22% above the national average. And then there's a couple of areas where they're significantly below the national average. This is the same type of chart. This is with the perceptions of the city. And there are some areas where the city is still significantly below the national average, but also a couple of areas where it's significantly higher. In particular, the quality of services provided by the city. That's a really important one because that's the overall services provided by the city. That encompasses everything. And for that one, Gardner is 21% above the Missouri-Kansas average, 18% above the U.S. national average. Here we're looking at how safe residents feel in their community, well above the national average in all 3 of these areas. Really high ratings in particular for all of them, but especially walking in business areas and downtown during the day, and walking alone in your neighborhood during the day. Here we're looking at satisfaction ratings for public safety. There's 5 areas where Gardner's significantly higher than the national average, 3 where they're significantly lower. In particular, the police service is rated really high, much higher than the national average. You look at visibility of police in neighborhoods in particular, 25% above the Missouri-Kansas average, 21% above the national average. Here we're looking at satisfaction with city maintenance. There's 4 areas where Gardner is significantly above the national average. Just 1 area where it's below, significantly below. This one's looking at parks and recreation. These are the most positive results overall. In this area, Gardner is significantly above the national average in 8 out of the 10 areas that were rated. This question focused on code enforcement. Gardner's really comparable to the Missouri Kansas average and the national average. No